and welcome to Zandvoort. We're here in the Netherlands and I'm looking forward to a very exciting race weekend. We are here in the beautiful circuit, which is exactly at the North Sea, embedded into the dunes. And we will see if Gary Paffett will be able to win again as he did last year, or if defending champion Timo Scheider will be able to pick up the speed. I guess we'll find out. Enjoy. Here are the highlights of the weekend.
Yes, indeed. Zandvoort by the sea, the famous former Grand Prix track here in Holland, just near Amsterdam. It's been on the DTM schedule since 2001. The track these days is 4.3 kilometres round, and it always provides a thrilling race for the fans. Great value, just €10 to get into the event. Currently, Bruno Spengler, of course, leads the championship by 17 points. The Canadian has been on the podium in every one of the previous 5 rounds. Gary Paffett's a man who goes very well here. He won in 2005 and 2009. There is Bruno Spengler. Matthias Ekstrom won here from Timo Scheider in 2008. And there's Zandvoort, right on the North Sea. This track, which hosted the Dutch Grand Prix from 1952 until 1985. In those days, it's quite a bit longer. It has been shortened. Here are some of the previous action then. Over the years, this track has seen its fair share of triumph and indeed a tragedy. But what do the current crop of DTM drivers make of it? Zandvoort, the name basically says it all. Sand is the operative word. There's always a lot of sand blowing onto the track from the dunes, so it's extremely important to stay on your ideal line to the exact centimetre. This really is a unique setting for a racetrack, right next to the sea, separated just by the width of one street. You do pick up that special feeling, and there's sand everywhere. This can make it very tricky on the track, but you also have the wonderful sea air. Yeah, you really have to push hard at Zandvoort. You sometimes think you're right on the limit, and then you notice you're half a second down, so you have to go for it some more. You also have to get it right at every single corner. Of course, if you get one corner wrong, it's normally hard to get around the lap without any more mistakes. You really have to push hard here in Zandvoort.
Yeah, in Zandvoort, muss man richtig hard pushing.
A very technical circuit, but also very quick. It's important to have the car set up right there. It's quite a high downforce track with a lot of fast corners, but also last year I managed to put it on pole, the first ever driver in a year-old car to earn a pole position. So Zandvoort's definitely a track I'm looking forward to.
It's unbelievably demanding, this circuit, with a lot of blind corners, a lot of quick sections, slow sections and slopes. It has a bit of everything, so I think it's a great track.
Really cool, very fast part like Chevac and the Marlboro corners. And I think this is one of the best tracks that we have in DTM this season.
So, out of 10.
Zandvoort on a scale of 1 to 10 is probably an 8.
Definitely a 9 for me.
I will put 10 to 10.
Susie,
6.
I'd say a 6. I put it between a 7 and an 8. So the average, 8.1. Let's check out the race from 2008, the 6th of that season. Ekstrom won the race from Scheider and Christensen. Ekstrom starting from the pole, but Timo Scheider dominating the race from the start. The great Le Mans hero Tom Christensen finished 3rd. Martin Tomczyk had a stunning start and made sure it was Audi's P1 to P4 as they entered that first corner. But really the race was about Ekstrom against Scheider. The pit stop strategy would be the decisive feature. Overtaking on this 4.26 kilometre track is very difficult, so the pit stop's absolutely vital. Ekstrom had the advantage of coming in first for both his stops. Scheider was forced to rejoin behind the Swedish ace on both occasions.
He had a bit better strategy. He pitted 2 times a bit earlier than me, so that was advantage he had. So, and afterwards, I did just my race. I just followed Matthias, and I couldn't do any more.
Mercedes-Benz were never close to winning. Instead, it was a case of teammates fighting for position amongst themselves. Here we see Maro Engel against DTM, then rookie Ralf Schumacher. Ekstrom ended up with his second race victory of the season. Scheider came home second, scoring valuable points, which would ultimately contribute to him winning his maiden DTM title at the end of the season.
For sure, it will be some nice moments with some small parties, but then we will stay focused to try and continue on the way we are doing now.
There he lifts the trophy. It was a very good day for Audi. But now we go forward 2 years. Timo Scheider, absolutely sensational in qualifying. A 1:31.590 gave him his first pole of the season. He was delighted.
Awesome day after such a difficult season I had so far in qualifying. But it's nice to feel all the support from the team, to be back right now at Zandvoort.
Gary Paffett, winner last year, finished second ahead of teammate Paul de Resta. Gary pushing hard in the Mercedes.
Timo had a better set of tyres, or just better condition of tyres for Q4, because there was a big difference. But generally, really happy. You know, front row is really good for tomorrow. So yeah, let's see. But no, as of today, very happy.
Audi's Spanish rookie Miguel Molina had never seen Zandvoort before, but he qualified in a stunning 4th place in the older spec Audi.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The track, it's really good. I like really much the track, and I'm really happy to be here in my first year in DTM in Q4, sorry. So it's fantastic.
But there was disappointment for championship leader Bruno Spengler. Very quick in the middle of qualifying, but made a mistake on this vital lap and qualified in only 7th place.
I did a little mistake myself in the last corner, which didn't help me also. So we have to see why I couldn't get the temperature into the tire for that Q3 lap, and then start from new for tomorrow.
Matthias Ekstrom was another man who was dissatisfied. 5th fastest was not really enough for a man desperately seeking every possible point in order to keep Audi in the championship race. Ralf Schumacher was unable to continue his good form from qualifying at the Norris Ring and Nürburgring.
Definitely seemed to pick up speed with this car and seem to understand it. So with being 8th today, I'm pretty happy, and it's a promising position for tomorrow.
David Coulthard hadn't raced at Zandvoort for many years, and it showed. He was off the track and near the back of the grid. And this is the top 10 Scheider, Paffett, de Resta and Molina, Ekstrom, Oliver Jarvis on pole last year, Spengler, Schumacher, Rockenfeller and Tomczyk were the top 10 qualifiers. Behind them, Jamie Green disappointing, Marcus Winkelhock, Pramar, Engel, Susie Stoddart, Catherine Legg, David Coulthard and Frankie Cheng. Susie Stoddart had to start from the pit, a punishment following this avoidable collision at the Nürburgring. So, we enter the middle of the season, the mid-race point, with currently the score Mercedes-Benz 4 and Audi only 1. One of the problems that Audi has encountered has been the lack of pace of the reigning champion Timo Scheider. But there were signs at the Nürburgring that he'd found ways of coping with the new Dunlop tyres, which had been troubling him all season. Verena Wright caught up with him on the Zandvoort beach.
Timo Scheider is back again. Finally, you're starting in pole position. I guess that feels really good.
To be honest, it's a great feeling, no question. It took a long time to be back. But in the end, it came in the right direction, and we managed yesterday the pole position. That's a great feeling for the team, for me personally, because I had some hard days. But in the end, it's still a good feeling, so I'm looking forward for the race, and I hope we manage it.
It was a tough time this season for you now. What was the problem, especially in the qualifyings? It didn't quite work out. What was the problem?
Well, we got some new tires this year, and I was struggling quite a bit with these tires. And also I got a new data and race engineer. And yeah, everything has to come together, and finally you have to have a proper day where you have the proper setup and manage the lap. But yeah, it took quite a while since everybody understood everything and we got everything together. But right now I have a great feeling with my guys, and there's a nice feeling for the team that we are back.
So a good feeling. What exactly does that mean in regards to the strategy? Let me guess. Attack full on?
Yeah, right now I'm in P6 in the championship, and my target has to be definitely to catch so many points as possible. And we have still 60 points to catch, and my target is to catch as much as possible.
Timo, I have a suggestion. What about a triple?
To be honest, it would be nice, but I'm realistic and I know how hard and tough DTM is. For sure my target is to be so often as possible on the podium, but it's still a hard work.
Speaking of podium, what's your goal for today's race?
To win it.
Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to a very exciting race.
Thank you.
Round 6 of the DTM at Zandvoort. Almost 40,000 fans flocking into the track. The promised rain seemed to be staying away, so all set for a good race. A couple of Brazilian samba dancers down on the grid. We'd had a demonstration of a NASCAR sprint car by Robert Dornbass. But down on the grid, Verena had joined Gary Paffett.
Hello again. Here I am now with Gary Paffett, who's starting in P2. And if I remember correctly, last year in Zandvoort, it was the same thing, and then you won the race. Is that the plan?
It'd be nice. You know, we had the same second position on the grid last year. I had a good race with Ollie Jarvis for most of the race, and then he made a mistake and I got past. Timo's a bit more experienced than Oliver, should we say? So, you know, we're going to keep pushing, do what we can. We have to make sure we score good points for the championship, but it would be great to get a back-to-back win here. You know, we'll be definitely trying for that, but we'll see.
Now Bruno Spengler is way behind you, which means obviously you can collect quite a few points today, and also you're back in the battle for the championship. How does that sound?
It's great. You know, we had a couple of races where we finished in the points but not on the podium, and after the podium finish at Nürburgring, the whole team was really motivated, and after being P2 on the grid here, you know, we really feel we're back, you know, possibly fighting for the championship. We're still a long way behind Bruno at the moment, but if we can get more points than him today, close the gap a bit, yeah, anything can happen.
Timo Scheider climbing into his car, back on the pace. That's certainly good news. Dr. Ulrich, the Audi boss, sharing a joke. The fans up on the dunes, and here is the grid. Timo Scheider then on pole. Gary Paffett alongside him, won from second place last year. Paul de Resta finished second of the previous round. Miguel Molina, the rookie, great qualifying. Matthias Ekstrom and Oliver Jarvis, last year's pole sitter Jarvis. Then Bruno Spengler further back than he'd like to be, and Ralf Schumacher. Then Mike Rockenfeller and Martin Tomczyk. Jamie Green, who's been doing so well in the championship, and Marcus Winkelhock, Alexandra Pramat and Maro Engel. Catherine Legg was alongside David Coulthard. Then it was Frankie Cheng. But problems for Marcus Winkelhock, working on the transmission down there in the garage after a problem on the warm-up lap. So we're ready to go with only 17 cars, and off we go. And look at Scheider stalls! Scheider stalls! All that hard work in qualifying, he goes immediately from first back to about 10th place. Seemed to move off Paffett in the lead. De Resta is in second place. Oh, goodness me, and Audi will have their head in their hands. Molina, though, an excellent start for Audi. There is Molina in third place. Climbing up now into the dunes. See, David Coulthard must have made quite a good start. Has moved up a couple of places. Quite bumpy around Zandvoort these days. Sparks flying off the front end of the cars. There's Maro Engel going through. Paffett, De Resta, Molina, Ekstrom. And Timo Schade, yes, 10th place. Cheng bringing up the 17 here. So Timo Schade, normally so good at these starts, which are pretty tricky. The way they have to load the cars up on the clutch against the brakes. He tried to get that slingshot effect. Tried to create a launch control, but it didn't work there for Timo Schade. He's just pushing hard now. See what he can do. On board with Schade. Around this famous circuit, that straight used to be much longer in the Grand Prix days. Well, he comes diving down hard on the brakes from 240 kilometers an hour into the Tarzan corner, which is quite banked. Coulthard shown in 13th position. Schade definitely won't be content with 10th. I think he's got a good race car under him. But is history repeating itself? Can Gary Paffett win for a second year from second place? Well, in this very early going, it's looking good. There's Jarvis went through. There is Schade, kicking up the dust, really on the edge. Carrying the number 1 plate, of course. Schade, winner of the championship last year and the year before. And he's looking to find a way past the S-Line car of Mike Rockenfeller, the 2010 Le Mans winner. Let's see that start again. Watch the black car. Well, difficult to tell from that angle, but I think he just started to move, then he stalled it, but got it fired up again quickly. But by then, of course, they've all swooped round him. Jamie Green getting beaten up a little bit into the first corner, I noticed. Had nowhere to go. That's the view from Schade. He did move. You could see that from that picture. He did initially move, then the car bogged down, stalled, and that's how they all went by him, and then he finished up with David Coulthard up in his boot. And Audi, obviously not happy with that. But what about Mercedes? And Gerhard Unger alongside Norbert Haug. He stands up in the excitement, but problems here for Maro Engel. And he is being pushed back, and looks as if he's got a bit of a problem with the front suspension. Paffett and De Resta starting to pull away a little bit. Ralf Schumacher just inside the points, I think, at the moment. Points down to 8th place. Schade still not past Rockenfeller. There's David Coulthard up to P12. Alexandre Premat in the blue car. And he has a drive-through penalty for a jump start. Premat. And he serves it immediately. So, well, this will pretty surely be another unhappy race for Premat. A man from Le Mans, not having a great season. Talented racing driver, of course, with a great deal of success in single-seaters. Had a second place in the DTM in the past. And here's Schade lining up Rockenfeller, I think, this time. But no, stays behind the former Porsche team driver. But now it just dives down the inside. Rocky doesn't make it difficult. They are in the same team after all. Schade moves up a place. Look back at Rockenfeller's car, Jamie Green kicking up a bit of dust. See that a lot here at Zandvoort, sand blowing off those dunes. Here's a replay, and well, just say he was keeping to a somewhat generous line was Mike Rockenfeller, not making it difficult for Timo Scheider. And remember, it was here last year where Audi got into a bit of trouble for their so-called team tactics. Schumacher now under pressure from Scheider. Well, certainly won't be any team tactics between these two. Both, of course, huge names in German motorsport. Scheider pushing hard to try and get up into the points at least. Jarvis is in 5th place, the man who led here for so long last year in what was then one of the older generation cars, has moved up into the new generation car. And a mistake there from Ralf Schumacher. Braked a bit too late, locked up, went wide, and Timo Scheider said thank you very much, and he dived through. Is now up into the points. You can see the replay from up high, and despite the banking on that corner, unable to hold the apex. There he goes, and Scheider makes it so easy for him. He just nips by. Again, another angle. So Scheider's pressure working on Schumacher. Schumacher, remember, had a great pole position at the Norris ring, but then was adjudged to jump the start. And now Scheider will be closing up on Martin Tomczyk, who didn't have a very happy qualifying. I see Ekstrom going through, but Scheider certainly looking at the sector times, the quickest Audi out there. Remember that Markus Winkelhock did not start the race. We can go down to the pits and find out exactly why with Verena.
And I'm here with Markus Winkelhock. What happened?
Yeah, when I went out of the garage, I felt some vibrations on the in the warm-up lap, and yeah, it was the drive shaft which was producing some vibrations. The guys were trying to change it or to fix it before the race, but it was the time was too close, so there was no chance to repair the car or fix the car before to the start then.
So huge disappointment there, and look, Scheider diving through another place. Again, not that much resistance from Martin Tomczyk. Paffett then and De Resta, look, they have pulled away a substantial lead over the rest of the pack. Coming into the pit stop phase. Already some drivers have stopped. Remember, they have to make 2 pit stops. They put on a fresh set of tyres, splash some fuel in. Paffett and De Resta with exactly the same pace. And more pit stops coming up. Ekstrom, let's follow him in. And Molina. These pit stops are lightningly fast. Just watch, everyone knows exactly what to do. Hear the rattle guns going off, and Molina and Ekstrom, out they go. 2.9 for Ekstrom, that's stunning. That is an absolutely stunning stop from the App team. Great job by them. Pramat, after his earlier troubles, comes in and out again, but Pramat down there in 15th spot. Timo Scheider still charging on. Now he has a little bit of empty track in front of him, really banging those lap times. There's Cheng, the Chinese driver. Remember, there will be a Chinese race to conclude this season on the streets of Shanghai. And in comes Gary Paffett, the race leader. The HWA crew equally accomplished as the app team, and 3.9 seconds for Paffett. Jamie Green going through. Jamie Green on one of his regular long first stints. There's David Coulthard, two Scots running together because Susie Stoddart is right up his boot. And then it's Cheng, who of course hasn't stopped yet, and now has behind him Audis which have stopped. And Molina threads his way through, and Cheng comes across in front of Ekstrom. Slightly dodgy moment there. So Cheng with the red Mercedes-Benz, still learning the ropes. A lot of single-seater experience, particularly in Britain, in Formula Renault. Has raced in Formula 3, became the first Chinese driver to race at Le Mans. Now, of course, the first Chinese driver at the DTM. We've had Japanese in the past. This is the first Chinese driver. And finding it a little bit tough yet to break into the points. And Jarvis and Rockefeller also go past. And we can see a replay here as Ekstrom had to switch sides. Cheng was just in the way, couldn't do much about it. Woof, just like that. And there Spengler held up behind Cheng as Resta, again Paul Resta's crew not coming up with quite the lightning stop of Paffett. The two Scots come by, so it'll be three Scots in a row for a little while anyway. And well, look at that, that's Molina dropping back behind the Red Bull car, and Spengler charging through there as well if he can, as Scheider comes in then, actually in the lead at the moment by dint of not having made his pit stop until now. Scheider stopped 3.5 seconds. He will rejoin right in the pack, right behind Spengler, but he's ahead of Oliver Jarvis. Scheider now in P7. Well, interested to see if Scheider can get past Spengler. Spengler, who has not been out of the points, not been out of a podium position this season. But can he fend off Timo Scheider? And Scheider really pushing hard now, and I think Scheider's going to make a move pretty soon. The reigning DTM champion is on fire here around the dunes of Zandvoort. So, Gary Paffett is in the lead. In second place is Paul Resta. Ekstrom is shown third. Molina fourth. Spengler fifth. But Timo Scheider wants that position. He's ahead of Jarvis, Rockefeller and Ralf Schumacher. And Scheider, as he admitted to Verena, found it a little bit difficult to come to terms with the new tyres, but also, and it's so important to have a good relationship with your engineer and data engineer. They've changed for Scheider this season, and obviously just taking a little time to find a way of working with him as he makes a move down the inside. But Spengler is an old hand at the DTM, not quite as many seasons as Timo Scheider, who's got over 100 races under his belt now. But the French Canadian knows a thing or two about keeping Audis behind him. Pops a wheel up on the curb as he pulls out of the Hugenholtz corner. And again, has a little look down the inside. Most likely overtaking place is, of course, at the end of the pit straight. The gap, 0.3, 0.4 of a second, is just a few car lengths, 2 or 3 car lengths in reality. And here you see the dunes on either side of the track. They provide some great vantage points as well for the spectators. We look down on this battle and we see Scheider just trying to find a line where he can dive down the inside of Spengler, but as I said, I think the only place in reality is at the end of the straight into that Tarzan bend. Of course, if you get offline here, it can be so slippery with the sand and with quite a lot of support events here, the rubber on the track. Now, will he have a go this time? Watch for him pulling out the slipstream. There he goes. And the door is firmly shut again by the Canadian. He saw that coming. But I don't think he can resist him for much longer, as David Coulthard dives into the pits. Many years ago, won the Marlborough Masters Formula 3 race here. David's made Zandvoort a family occasion. His parents are here, his sister's here, and wife and son certainly enjoying a little time on the beach as well. As we have Bruno Spengler coming in for his second stop. Spengler stops on his marks. The V8 engine is fired up and blasts away in 3.8 seconds as Catherine Legg comes in. Catherine from 7th place, but will drop back down the order. And Molina with a bit of a twitch on as he went into the Tarzan that time. Spengler comes out behind Mike Rockenfeller. Jarvis just ahead of Rockenfeller. Again, bits of rubber kicked up from the side of the circuit. And there's Albert Düring from Audi in the middle. The chief technical man in the management, getting a little worked up. But must be pleased with the progress of Scheider. Scheider now with Ekstrom in front of him. Anxious faces at HWA. But I'm not sure why, because the Mercs are going so well. Ekstrom into the pits for his pit stop. Down on the pit speed limiter. Will turn in right at the end of the pits. There's Molina coming, and will he get out in front of Molina? 3.4 seconds. And no, Molina goes by, and Ekstrom just behind Molina, just in front of Jarvis. And Rockenfeller, 4 Audis running together in that little pack. Paffett still in the lead, still with the Resta in his mirrors. And the lead, just 1.5 seconds. Both cars on a similar pace. Paul di Resta knows the story. He can put pressure onto Paffett. And if Gary makes a mistake, goes wide, he can nip by, but anything more forcible than that will be frowned upon. And that's professional motor racing for you. As Paffett goes in, and of course, there's also the issue in the pits. If Paffett loses a couple of seconds to Paul di Resta in his pit stop, then of course he will lose that lead. So a lot of pressure on the boys as a switch at Audi here with the Red Bull car moving up a place. Again, Molina didn't make it difficult as Paffett comes back. And Paffett back in front of Spengler. But of course Spengler still on his second phase of the race, the middle section for him. So there is Ekstrom, double former DTM champion, of course, the cool Swede. Now, to Resta's pit stop, remember that his first pit stop was relatively slow. His pit crew also service Ralf Schumacher. And he must be coming in pretty soon, I would think. And then we'll have to see whether he comes out in front or behind Gary Paffett. Well, I think it's unlikely that they can jump him here. They could drop him further behind. The red mirrors indicating Paul de Resta, the AMG Driving Academy liveried car. They go to work. And it's another 4-second stop. So here is Paffett, here's de Resta coming out. De Resta's got the speed just on the brakes now. And there's Paul de Resta coming out right alongside Bruno Spengler. Spengler lets him continue in that second place, because remember, Spengler's yet to make his second stop, just not having the pace of the previous 5 races. So here at Zandvoort, it's looking as if Mercedes-Benz are still very much the team to beat. Gary Paffett, who started the season with a victory at Hockenheim, has led all the way by the pit stop phase here, and Paul de Resta has followed him. There's been some good battling a little bit further down the order. We've had a great drive by Timo Scheider up the field. There is Oliver Jarvis, not sparkling as he did last year when he led this race, ultimately went wide, and Gary Paffett nipped through. But that was a drive that helped Jarvis get into this top Audi squad of 4. Rockenfeller there, his car run by the Team Phoenix organisation. There's the Ralf Schumacher pit stop. Coming into the closing laps of the race now. A big lock-up from Rockenfeller, and Spengler tries to take advantage of that. And it doesn't quite work. Rockenfeller just managing to keep up enough momentum. Scheider on this different strategy. And finally he comes in. Scheider, of course, leading by dint of the fact he hadn't made his second pit stop. Effectively, it was a Paffett de Resta 1-2 though, as Scheider comes in. There, the familiar whiskers headlights of the Audis, the LEDs. And here is Scheider coming out. And Ekstrom does not go past him. Almost side by side. And Scheider in 3rd place. What a drive from 10th after that stall on the grid. Jamie Green, who's been such a strong racer this season, the victor, of course, of the Norris Ring for the 3rd time running, down in a surprise 10th place. There, the 2 Audis then running together. What do we see here? Oh, that's Spengler just tapping Rockefeller. And just caught him in the rear door, and the A4 spins off.
Audi did a very good strategy to get in my way. There were a few overtaking maneuvers which were a bit on the limit. Matthias Ekström overtook Miguel Molina 2 times quite easily. It was a bit strange. But anyway, that's the race.
So here we are, closing stages now. Gary Paffett and Paul di Resta controlling the race as they please, and again Mercedes-Benz have made a better use of these new Dunlop tyres, this 2010 specification tyres, than Audi. Audi still trying to get their heads round how to make their cars go really quickly. But one man who seems to have done that is Timo Scheider. How would it have been if he hadn't stalled at the start? He could have been right in there amongst the Mercedes. Look at this group of cars all running together. But Gary Paffett is set to make it 2 in a row at Zandvoort. He zigzags to the checkered flag, and Paffett wins here at Zandvoort. Second year running for him. Embraces down in the Mercedes pit. Timo Scheider comes home in 3rd place. And then the rest of the field in a group, Ekström, Molina, they take 4th and 5th positions. Let's go down and talk now with Norbert Haug.
And I'm here with a very happy Norbert Haug, who's of course still shaking hands here. What a fantastic race we just saw. That's the 4th victory in a row, I guess.
Yes, it's the 4th in a row and the 5th in total in 6 races, so that's pretty amazing.
And thinking about that, you've got Bruno Spengler, you've got Paffett, and you've got di Resta. That's 3 top people in the battle for the championship. Which one would be your favorite in winning it?
I don't care, as long as it's a Mercedes driver, it's fine.
So it's looking very good at the moment. Congratulations, Norbert Haug.
And there Gary Paffett celebrates by climbing on the bonnet of his car. Gary's 2nd win of the season. And then dutifully shuts the door. Here's Timo Scheider, obviously frustrated and disappointed. Let's hear now from Dr. Ulrich.
And now I'm here with Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich. Now what an unpredictable race. Timo Scheider, kind of tragic, falling back from 1st into 10th P, but then fighting his way back into into 3rd place. He did a really good job considering that it was a pretty disastrous start.
Yeah, it is really a disaster because like on the Nürburgring, the car that has the best race performance fails the start and loses a lot of position in the 1st lap. It's something that, really should not happen. The pace then was good, and if the pace that we have seen from Timo would have been combined with a good start, I think the result would have been quite different.
But the result could yet change, and it could get worse for Audi. These results are only provisional. Paffett, di Resta, Scheider, Ekström, Molina, Jarvis, Spengler, Tomczyk, Schumacher, and there's the rest of them. I'll explain why. All the tyres have little identification barcodes on them, and one of the barcodes was missing from a Scheider tyre. So they will have to rule on that situation, but it could see Scheider disqualified from the race.
Timo, you don't look too happy, obviously, but it's got to be said you did fight back pretty strong, falling back to P10 and now 3rd place.
Well, what can I say? It was a tough race anyway, but I did a big mistake, so I stole the engine at the start. That from pole position is incredible bad. I'm really sorry for the guys, and I'm really sorry for my team because I had a fantastic car the whole way through. They did a perfect strategy and perfect pit stop, so the error is just in my fault. So yeah, I'm sorry for that.
Why do you think that it happened? Was it because it was nerve-wracking? Why? Too much pressure?
Bad question. I think I just tried to make everything right, and I just stepped one step too far, and that was a thing. But yeah, that's racing.
Actually, a very good question. There are the points. As again we said, provisional. Bruno Spengler, his lead has been pegged back to 9 points, 44 to Paffitz, 35 to Resta, 33. Ekstrom on 28. There they are on the podium. And now we can hear from the second place finisher.
Congratulations, a fantastic race for you.
Yeah, it's a good result. Another second place. Very close to winning again. The speed was incredible again today. The race car that HWA Mercedes gave me here today was incredible, and this morning the speed showed. But you know, I need to get a move on with my qualifying performances because they're just missing a little bit, and I think that's compromising the end result at the weekend.
You're full on in the battle for the championship. In 2 weeks it's Brands Hatch. What's the goal there?
Well, we had a very strong there last year, a very convincing win. Coming away from 2 wins, I'm very confident that hopefully the team can move forward a little bit, and certainly we'll go there fighting for the championship.
So the bubbly is sprayed at Zandvoort. Mercedes-Benz score a British 1-2. Scheider there at least provisionally in third place. So a good result going into Brands Hatch for the British, and I'm sure we're going to see plenty of Union Jacks waved at the Kentish circuit.
What a fantastic job. We were talking about a little déjà vu yesterday, and that's exactly what we saw today. Congratulations.
Thank you. I got the lead a bit earlier today. You know, Timo made a bad start, which was amazing because he never makes bad starts, but today was his day, and yeah, I got in the lead from the start, and the first couple of laps I just had to see what the speed was like compared to Paul, and we were very close. And from there I thought, you know, this is it, we won the race. As long as we can just stay consistent, we've won the race, because the speed was amazing in the car. You know, on new tyres we could do really fast lap times, and on the second and third sets of tyres, pretty much the both of us were just taking it easy on the tyres really. So no, the team did an amazing job. The car was really good.
And that's how he won it in the end. Of course, he slowed right down on the final lap, and Paul di Resta was right with him. Farina.
That certainly was a very exciting race, very unpredictable here in Zandvoort. I'm getting a feeling what it's like standing up on the podium here, and you don't want to miss the race in Brands Hatch in 2 weeks, so see you there. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so that's it from Zandvoort. Here's some highlights of the 6th round of the DTM. But from me, Andrew Marriott, it's goodbye until the next time. Let's hope we see you at Brands Hatch.
You're my religion, you're my football match.